All right, welcome in. We are live today answering your running questions. My name is Joe. I've been running for a really long time. I manage a local running store, and I'm not trying to sell you coaching or anything like that. I just really want to help people out with running. One of my bigger passions in life is helping people get into something that they want to get into. There are always roadblocks that are really hard to overcome, especially when you don't know like how to navigate through and getting into whatever it is that you want to get into. So I am trying to build a brand, the Ontos running brand, but you don't have to do anything. This is free for you. I just want to be able to answer some questions and hopefully help some people out. So if you have any questions, genuinely, please drop them in the chat. I am more than happy to go through any and all of them. Last time I did this, we just went through and I had a dialogue kind of back and forth with two different folks, and it was a really good time. So I'm going to make sure everything looks right and swell on YouTube here so that I can see what you're seeing. Oh, that looks like a good starting spot. Very nice. So while I am waiting for hopefully some folks to pop into the chat, I'm going to kind of go through how I would have somebody start from scratch if they've not done much running in the past year or so, year plus, call it. And I think it's something that I say a lot on the channel, but it really starts with a run walk option and then it can build from there. I think the earlier on you are with your fitness journey, the more cognizant we have to be of our body staying in sorts, if that makes sense. So what I don't want to have happen is things to just start popping up and like, oh, this hurts. Ooh, that kind of is bothering me. Would really love to see something where you can start your walk and you can start having some tissue adaptation. So the first time you go for a walk, it's like, whoa, this is a lot on my calves or my shin. I'm getting shin splints. And it takes time for the body to adapt to whatever that new stressor is. For walking, it's a lot of pounding. For jogging, it's a lot of pounding. So you just have to be mindful of it. I've got a friend right now who is working through some of this, and he's doing a great job of making progress. And it's not linear, right? Nothing ever is. So he had about 3 weeks of really good running, and his calf started bugging him. So we just pulled the reins in, and that's okay. That's the really cool part about all of this is there's nothing wrong about it. We're looking for a half marathon in May. Like there's so much time right now being at the very beginning of February. He went through this week, only actually had to walk 2 days, still did a walk jog another day. And I was talking to him back and forth last night and he was like, yeah, I feel pretty good overall, which is sick because now he can go into next week, probably back to a normal plan. And it's just modifying things. So I think he was running just a little too fast. So he was doing some walking and some jogging. The walks were perfect, but the jogs I think were a little too aggressive for what his body's maybe ready for. So he pulled the pace back, but he's still jogging on it. And that's going to allow, again, that tissue adaptation to start rolling, start getting there. It all just takes a little bit of time. Hey, Garrett, that's you. The shoe racks, yes, this is really fun. So we got them on Amazon. I usually actually really dislike supporting Amazon, but I couldn't find anything that looked like something like this for anything less than a couple $100. So we win some, we lose some. If you have any suggestions or ideas, I thought it was kind of a cool setup with them facing each other, but this is very moldable. Speaking of Garrett, since you are in the chat, how's the calf feeling? What are you kind of excited about for the next week from a running perspective? Any things that you are not worried about, but that are top of mind for you. And if not, tell us in the chat, what does your week of walk, jog, running look like right now? I'll give you a second to type. Also, Ashley, if you're in the chat and have any running kind of related questions, let me know. Cass feeling good, excited to be back in the swing of things. Brilliant. So this is my friend that I was talking about. Calf's feeling good. It was the outside of his right calf, and I'm not going to like diagnose anything for anybody because I'm not a doctor of physical therapy. If you've got something really bugging you that's more than just like maybe reduce intensity, go talk to a PT because that's what they do. Garrett, are we on 3 days of walk jog now? And then the long run being like that bigger accumulation of total volume, but still with walk breaks between? That'd be really cool to hear about. Using the Koros app for the plan. The plan this week is Thursday, Saturday, get lighter walk runs, and then a long run on Monday. Ooh, that's super exciting. Is this the first straight long run now? If so, I'd love to hear how far it is, how you're feeling about going into it, if you've got any questions at all. Not on 3 days of walk run yet. I want to be able to, but not gonna lie, it's been killing me. Super fair. So that's exactly what I'm talking to with that very first thing I said here, where it takes time for the tissues to adapt. It just doesn't happen overnight. Remodeling tendons and ligaments can take a pretty substantial amount of time. You can start having muscular change earlier on, like 4 to 8 weeks. Muscles, tendons, usually 8 to 12 weeks plus. But the thing is, we're just adding enough stimulus to where we actually start getting the adaptation. So that, you know, for Garrett here, the goal is to run a half marathon after some time of not running and then running and then not running and running. That's perfect because it's telling the body, hey, here's this stimulus that we understand, but we need to have it to start getting those adaptations back going. Just a longer run walk this time. Right now I'm on 7 to 2 on lighter days, and I think it's moving towards 9 to 10 to 2. So that means it's going to be 7 minutes of jogging and 2 minutes of walking, if I remember his plan correctly. And that's the cool thing. That's how we go from walk jog to continuous running. So it takes time. We slowly add stuff in, and we increase the duration of the jogging time while we compress the time for the walking side. So that's cool. We're progressing out because originally it was about 1-to-1, if I remember correctly, for the plan that he's on specifically, where it's 2 minutes on and then a couple of minutes off, which is excellent. So that just goes to show that we're making progress a little bit every day. The tissues are adapting. Otherwise, if you went straight to 7 minutes on to 2 minutes off, I think stuff would get pretty mad. So that's just a really cool way to see how progression goes over time. So, you know, if we're doing, call it 2 rounds of 7 on, 2 off, when it progresses, you could go either you could go up to like 9 to 10 minutes on to 2 minutes off. Then you can pull it to where you're only doing like a minute off. So you could do 9 to 10 with 1 minute off. And that's going to keep heart rate up for a little bit longer. Things just stay in that. You get more fitness that way. So heart rate stays higher. You have more metabolic stress. You have more oxygen that you're consuming. You're getting more fit over time. Really cool example of how you can progress that through, because I actually haven't seen the entire progression really specifically through that exact program. Curious if anybody else pops into the chat. I'll stay on for about 30 minutes, see how long people want to stay along for the ride. We're 11 minutes in. Would love to be able to answer questions for more folks. I think that's, the best thing that I can do here is give you specific ideas that I can then make broad. I think that's what some of the best coaches do, regardless of what they're coaching. So like business coaches, hear something from somebody and then say, how do I take this, answer your question, but also broadly apply it to a larger group of folks. Office hours, heck yeah. But yeah, whatever it is in this space, would love to be able to help you, but then also make it a broader lesson for anybody else. While we're seeing if anybody else pops in, I guess I'll talk about something for me and how I progressed it back in. I'll have to learn how to screen share on here, but coming off of my marathon in December, my knee was really starting to bug me, and it got so bad to where I was only running like 10 miles a week or so, which was really frustrating. Not something you really want to have happen, but it's okay. We just learn and progress. So I was okay with it. I dropped my mileage down really far. 10 miles a week is very comfortable for me from a distance, from a fitness perspective. But if the knee isn't getting better, then it's going to be a limiter over a long period of time. And that's not what I'm here for. I want to get better so that I can keep doing the thing that I love, which is running. So I took a week at 10 miles, I think 12, 16, 20. So that's almost a month of about half of the volume that I want to be doing. I want to average about 40 miles a week for this entire year. That'll get me to 2,000 miles for the entire year, and that's something that I just personally want to accomplish. I think that'd be a really cool goal, and I think it'll help me with a lot of the fitness-related goals that I want to get to for the year. I want to run like a sub-3 marathon. There are a handful of things that I want to do. None of them are tangibly in my control, but running the right amount of volume that I deem is right for me is a way that I can control the inputs, and then the outputs hopefully will take care of themselves. So knee was hurting. I took 4 weeks, as I said, with way reduced volume. From there, I have slowly been creeping it back up. So last week I ran 24. This week, assuming everything goes right, I will get up to 28 or 30 miles. And then I'm probably going to hang there for a minute, just make sure my body's like, okay, cool, not going to freak out or anything. And that's hard because I see where I want to be mileage. So every week I track how far ahead or behind of the mileage that I want to be at, that I am. So right now I'm like 100 miles behind for the year compared to where I want to be. I think that is really telling in how important it is to not get overzealous, not make too many jumps, because I don't want to go back down to 10 or 12 miles. If I'm at 30 for a couple of weeks and I really lock that base back in, make sure my knee feels good, make sure my calves are feeling good. That's an area that'll take a lot of extra stress throughout the course of a run. I'm trying to be a little more midfoot striking, so I'm being more cognizant of where I'm striking, and my calves are a little sore. If they're anything more than sore, I'm going to just reduce volume, reduce intensity, but I'm not going to do that until it's like beyond sore. I like the idea of continuing to progress and having the tissue adapt. So sore is not bad. Pain is bad though, and that's what I'm trying to avoid. So broad application for you guys. For me, my calf is a little sore. I'm going to monitor it. It doesn't mean I'm going to change what I'm doing yet. I'm going to see how it feels today. I'm going to see how it feels tomorrow. I'm going to try and give myself a little bit more warm-up time than I maybe normally would. I especially don't want anything that happens like really acutely. I don't want something to like blow up, which I don't think it will, but that's the really bad thing. Chronic fatigue can just kind of creep up on you, but if you're mindful about it, you can usually stay ahead of things. So for you guys, be mindful if you have anything pop up, if it's your calf or your knee or your quad or your back, if there's something that's bothering you, give yourself more warm-up time. Let the tissue heat up. That helps with movement. Go through some big ranges of motion that's within your normal before you get into your workout. Try and do the things right before you really get into whatever your workout is for that day from an acute standpoint. From a larger standpoint, if you need to, go see a PT. Make sure there's nothing really weird popping up. That's really funny, Garrett. As a medical professional, I'd be pretty alarmed if my knee blew up. Fair. Hopefully either way, as your knee getting really swollen, or if it actually blew up, that'd be pretty bad. That'd probably reduce your mileage a bit. I digress though. Whatever on a chronic basis, talk to somebody who knows what they're doing, can address your specific situation, maybe give you some strengthening exercises, maybe mobility movements, whatever it needs to be for you. Figure out what the root of that problem is earlier on. Figure out what the root is so you can address it, so that you can keep progressing forward with whatever your goals are. Why should we see a PT and not a chiropractor? I know, I just want to hear you say it. I think both can be valuable. I am generally going to reference people towards a PT because they have to look at bigger systems, but there are really good chiropractors out there. Chiropractic school is different than PT school. I've had chiropractors who came from the athletic training background. So there was one guy that I worked with in specific when I was in Raleigh, and he was fantastic at what he did. For me, as somebody who was really into high level sport at that time, that's when I was still training post collegiately for the decathlon. This guy was phenomenal. He was a chiropractor, so he could help manipulate and move the body to help with mobility. But he also had, I believe, his master's in athletic training. And that meant he could marry the two sides up really well. So like athletic training, doctor of physical therapy, a little different. DPT is going to take longer to get to, but athletic training gives you a lot of that base knowledge that you need from a physical therapist's perspective. And then chiro just gives you another tool, another modality you can use to manipulate how the body's moving. Really cool, actually. But yeah, a lot of times I'm going to reference people going over to a physical therapist. Their schooling is just a little bit different. I think they look a little more broadly sometimes. I like both. Not a chiropractor hater, not going to lie, but I respect that there are some good ones. Equally, there are some bad ones. And the same can be true for PTs. Like, there are PTs that get stuck in their 4 things that they look for, and they do 4 things to try and fix people. And that's equally frustrating. bad chiropractors scare me more than bad physical therapists, though, if that makes sense. It's always going to be person dependent, though. Speaking of chiropractor, I just popped my neck and we'll see. Maybe need to go talk to a chiropractor. I actually am talking to one. Again, I think it's interesting when you can have a good chiropractor because they can do more manual manipulation. So there's a guy here up in the mountains of North Carolina that is a chiropractor, but he has a really big background in running. He was a pretty good runner himself. And now he's using that perspective to inform how he's helping people get better and stay healthy as they're running. I'm a chiropractor hater, not gonna lie. Okay, I misread that the first time. Anywho, the first time I went in and talked to this specific gentleman, I went in, he was moving me around. He was having me squat. He was checking single leg mobility. We went and I ran on a treadmill. He did slow motion views, front, side, back. And he didn't adjust me at all. He looked at where movement restrictions are. That's a lot of times what a PT will do. He looked at any compensatory patterns, compensating patterns that I had, and checked against what I should be doing. A lot of times a PT will do that. So I think it's just the quality of person that you're talking to on either end. Big chiropractor take though, don't let them touch your neck. Very rare but possible to cause a fatal artery. Wow. That'd be really bad. I don't want any bits of my neck being stopped or stop any of your existing medicines. I don't know why a chiro would ever tell you to stop any of your medicines. Is that something you've heard, Garrett, in your profession? So for anybody who doesn't know, Garrett is a physician's assistant, different kind of PT, or PA, excuse me. Sorry, that was wrong. Different kind of PA. And I'm curious if he's had any stories of that happening. But yeah, your doctor can give you medicine. Your chiropractor can help make your body articulate more around the joints. You haven't either, but patients have done it before from their recommendations? That's wild. That feels like malpractice, kind of. I don't know how that specifically works. I don't know. That feels super, super wrong. Would not recommend getting on or off of any sort of medicine on a chiropractor's judgment. And so on that point, you definitely pivoted a little bit. That's fine. I think it's in the vein of movement and physical activity. I think that's fine. Even with supplementation, I think that's one where I think a lot of times supplements are kind of unnecessary. If you eat a whole food balanced diet and you're getting a bunch of fiber, not that I'm going to recommend anybody to do anything different in their day, talk to your doctor and everything, but like creatine, sometimes some magnesium, that's all I take from a vitamin perspective. I don't even do a multivitamin. I think if you're getting a bunch of really good food that has a bunch of different micronutrients, eating a variety of things, I think you're probably going to be okay. If you're really worried about it, get some blood work done. See if you are deficient in any areas. And that's going to inform if you need to be more specific in things that you're putting into the body. just to finish out that last bit from the conversation about if you've got something bothering you, do go see somebody who is a professional that can tell you how to help move your body better. But don't get caught up in, I feel like I'm losing progress just because you're taking a slight detour in the path. I don't think a week of change in your plan, in your fitness plan, is going to have a dramatic shift in how things come about in the end. So we've all seen the chart where you got this like squiggle going up and right, where it's like there are ups and downs and ups and downs, and it just requires time, because as long as you're moving in the right direction, I guess for you guys it would be this way. If you're going in the correct direction over a long enough period of time, you're going to get where you're trying to go. So it's hard for me. Don't get too caught up in a small time frame. We all do it, but I'm going to say it to you so you can hear it. Just try and slowly move up and to the right. It takes time. It just does, and that's okay. Garrett, yes, supplements don't have to prove anything and can say whatever they want. Yeah, I get the appeal of natural ingredients, but they process them to the point of unnatural and sometimes dangerous. That's interesting. It's also a multi-billion-dollar industry, just like big pharma, without the safety regulations. Yeah, supplements are a crazy world to live in. It is kind of crazy that people can kind of just say whatever they want, and don't have to have any backing. I don't love it from a personal perspective. I don't know. There are times when things, I don't know. It's a weird one. A lot of times I think supplementation just probably isn't necessary. Creatine is great. I take creatine. It works for my body. It's pretty well studied supplement. The magnesium's even just kind of a, do I feel like taking it? Maybe it's a little bit of placebo, but it comes from a really quality manufacturer, which is something to be super mindful of. I'm probably never going to grab something randomly off of a shelf at Walmart. I'm going to be really specific. Is this company doing putting in what they say they're putting in? And they can get certifications that say, we are doing this, even though they're not like regulated. But yeah, you probably just don't need it. Sorry, definitely spouting some of my most controversial health takes right now. And some supplements are proven, singular vitamins, creatine, protein powder. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that, Garrett. And I don't think it's all that controversial, if we're being really honest. There are supplements that are proven and good and quality, and there are crappy ones that are not any of that. You just have to be thoughtful with what you're putting into your body. Love the bubble pop-up. That's fun. I don't know how that actually happens. I think that's interesting. If anybody at home knows why the thumbs up bubble actually moves all the way into the stream, let me know. I think that's quite funny. I guess I'll wrap today up with just a be patient with yourself kind of end. Be patient. Let the body progress. It takes time to do that. One step in front of the other. If you have to reduce intensity so you can keep volume moving in the right direction, that's fine. If you try and overdo it early on, your body's not going to be able to adapt. So that's why I think folks run into problems sometimes is it's like, yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to go super hard. But then your body's beat down for 3, 4, 5, 6 days. And you're like, wow, that sucked. I don't want to do that. So don't. If we can pull the intensity down, I feel like that just takes some of the fun away. Some of that, I worked really hard. Hi, James. How are you? I would love to answer any questions. If you've got any in the chat, would love to hear how the lifting's going. I think I saw on one of your shorts the other day, you said you've got a run coming up. How's the Garmin going? would love to hear anything that you've got on that front. I'll finish up my point and then hopefully answer a question or two from James. So I think it reduces a little bit of the fun, if you will, of the I worked really hard, but if we can shift the mindset to by not overdoing it, I worked the way I was supposed to. That is when that mindset shift is what allows you to do this whole big up and to the right curve. And would love to see that for you. Whoever you are out there, if you happen to be seeing this, I want to see you stay healthy and keep getting more fit because I think it makes such a big impact on your life. So be patient with yourself, allow it to come to you. Don't worry about bringing intensity down if you're still able to do everything else you need to. So Garrett was running or walking his correct, air quotes, distance, but was able to pull intensity down, allowed things to start feeling good, and now we're back to it, which is phenomenal. I love it. James has got a good 5K fun run next weekend, just going to be a fun run, nothing serious. Heck yeah. I think that can be a really underrated thing to do if you don't have, or if you don't mind doing a little bit of an entry fee, or if it's a relatively inexpensive one. Going and just being around other people who are doing the thing and are excited. You don't have to push every race crazy hard. I'm going to go do a run with Garrett, and I'm super excited to do his half marathon with him in May. It's something that I'm willing to pay the entry fee for because I want to see him do awesome and feel the sense of accomplishment at the end. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm going to go do a race for me that I'm super excited about, that I'm going to try and taper for really well, that I'm going to try and absolutely smash. So yeah, do races that you don't necessarily have a bunch of like chips in the table for. You don't have to go all in on every race. You don't have to run every race to where your tank's on E. Sometimes it's really good to get training in. And for me, with Garrett, I'm going to get a great long run in, work on fueling, be around a bunch of people, be excited, maybe tell a person or two about the Ontos hat, and that'll be phenomenal. That's what we're after. Okay, James asks, I was interested in hearing how your distance training had felt over this last year. What was it like and what was not expected? Yeah, so really cool for the past year. Background looking good, by the way, with the shoes. Thank you. Brand new. I put this together last night. I think I want to keep playing with it. I'm not sure exactly how I want it to look. But I think it was more interesting than just a plain white wall behind me. So thank you. I appreciate it. So interesting perspective with my training over the last year. So as you guys, I think all know who are in the video right now, I was a pretty solid decathlete. I had gone to the USA Track and Field National Meet indoors for the heptathlon. So I was at a pretty high level of sport, but a different side of it. So all of this stuff that I was doing was very sprint, very power based. The fastest I ever really had to run, or the furthest, excuse me, I had to run was 1,500 meters. So just barely short of a mile. And I did that in 4 minutes and 47 seconds. So by no means a crazy fast distance runner, because that's not where I put my energy. It was interesting for me shifting to this more aerobic side, the longer distance stuff, because I had, very fortunately, a lot of the tissue tolerance built already. So for me to go from 10 miles a week to 20 to 30 to 40, it was pretty seamless, honestly. I think because I was really strong and my muscles, tendons, ligaments were used to having crazy, crazy high forces going through them from sprinting. It's just a small transition over to the longer distance stuff. Force is lower, but it's over a longer period of time. So there are differences, but I've been fortunate to stay very healthy through that. It was very humbling. I remember my first run after I decided I was really kind of retired with the weird coaching situation that happened. It was 5 miles. I went and looked actually back at this the other day. It was 5 miles. It was just under 9 minute pace. And my heart rate average was like 171, that's a really high average for a long time. And I think I had to like really pull the pace down in the last mile. I think I got up to the point my heart was at like 190 to 200. I was like totally maxed out. I did a run the other day of 5 miles at like exactly 9 minute pace, and it was so much easier. I just finished it and was like, oh, great. That was a really, really nice workout. I'm going to run again tomorrow. Whereas the other one, the early run, I was walloped for a handful of days. So even I fell into that trap, but I was with people and I was excited to be running. So yeah, very different entrance into the running world than some folks. Things that I think went well is I did progress slowly, even though I had a big background. I didn't just jump straight into 40 miles a week. I progressed it. I didn't want to hurt anything as I was progressing. I was talking to collegiate, post-collegiate runners who were really in the space and understood. And, you know, my background in exercise science, I understand progression. And I was getting a more nuanced take from people who have specific knowledge in the more distance kind of space. Yes, the training is working, James, which is very exciting. So slow progression over time. I think that's one thing that went really well. I would have liked to maybe race a little more. I did a lot of base building. And that's good. That's healthy. I'm glad that I did that. I would have enjoyed to go and test my fitness a little more. I only did 3 races, I think, last year. And the goal this year is to race more for that exact reason, to see where I'm at physically, what I can do. I think it's fun to race, to push, to try some shoes like this one right here that I've not had the chance to run in yet. It's a carbon plated shoe from Hoka, and it should be really fun. Things that I maybe didn't expect as much. I think how much fun I have with it. And I know I'm a little bit weird. I always have been like, I don't know. I was training post-collegiate for 4 or 5 years. I don't think most people have the desire to do that. So something in here is a little weird. But I just really, really enjoy it. I like the fact that I can be outside. I like the fact that I can spend time in my head and not use it as meditation, but like just time to clear my head. When I'm running, I'm usually not thinking too much about anything in particular. The only time that changes is if I'm on the treadmill. I'll usually listen to something either running or business related. But yeah, I think it's just really enjoyable. I like being out and doing it. And I think that comes from having progressed slowly enough that I was never like fighting for my life. How does it feel to have a larger endurance base now? What are the future goals to keep this up? That's a great question. Having the bigger base now, I think just gives me more opportunity to go hang out with other people. And there are still plenty of folks I can't run with at all. But I think by and large, I'm able to run with most folks out right now. And I like running fast and I like running easy. I think that's the best part of it is I'm not really limited in who I'm running with. Some of the college guys that are at the running store I manage, they're way faster than me, obviously. But I can do a hard run for me to match an easy run for them. But outside of that, I'm pretty well fit at this point, and I think that's really fun. Future goals to keep this work up. There are a handful of things that are all super synergistic here. I think being at the running store, I want to be able to talk about the products we have. I am building the Ontos brand and that's going to have me at a lot of events. I plan on going to a lot of expos as I can. I think that'll be really fun. And then I definitely want to keep racing. I've got my eyes on, like, as every other 20 something or 30 something guy out there, I want to go qualify for Boston. I think that'd be really cool. That'll require a ton of work. I'm nowhere near that yet, but I do think it'd be really cool. And I had one more thing. I think just building the Ontos brand, and then the YouTube here. I do a lot of running, whether it's at the Greenway testing shoes, whether it's just talking about running, being fit so that I can talk about it. I think all those things, because I think doing always is going to supersede talking. Does this open the door for more local races, maybe a fun Spartan race? I would do a Spartan race, I think, if I had somebody who wanted to do it already. Yeah, I think I want to do it already. Journey to Boston when it happens. Yeah, well, we'll see. That's gonna take a minute. I think this year I could probably run around 3 hours 20. Maybe under 3:15. I think that'll be the general range that I can get to this year. At Kiowa this year, I think I want to try and run an hour faster than I did last year. I think that'd be a really cool goal for the year. Getting to Boston is going to be pretty fast. I think keeping up the speed stuff is going to be pretty important for that, which is cool because I'm going to hopefully work with some of the college kids and keep some speed in my legs. I think that'll mean as the aerobic system comes online, the structure will stay there to run fast, and hopefully we can go up to that level at Boston. To the Spartan race thing, though, I think that would be really fun. That feels more of like a for fun to me, less of a, I don't know, I'm really competitive with myself, and that's what the decathlon did, because you're not competing against other people in the decathlon, it's competing against yourself. I like that a 5K is a 5K run, and you either run faster or you didn't. So I think for the Spartan, it'd be more like, I'm just there to have a good time, to do the obstacles and finish and have fun with it. The racing to me is more of like a grungy, like, can I force my body to do something it hasn't done before? When it's like actual race time, I mean. Spartans are a lot of fun. That type of race really beats you up in a good way to see how hard you can push yourself when exhausted. North Carolina has a great one. I think it was near Fort Bragg. Very interesting. I think I've heard of that. And I think it was one of the longer ones. I know that there are a bunch of different like distances that you can do those for. And I think maybe one of my friends has done one before. I think it'd be really fun. I would totally be down to get one of those in sometime. So if you're ever down here, James, I would absolutely do a 5K, and then we could do a video about it. Or a Spartan race, rather. And we can do a video about it. Do you have any things, James, that you would like me to answer? I'm super happy to talk about any of your training, whether it's the lifting side or the distance. Fayetteville has the 5K, 10K, 21, and Ultra. How far is the Ultra one? Is it a 50K? Is that the one that has like 50 obstacles in it? You've done that one a couple of times. Garrett, you've done one too. Oh my goodness. I guess I'm going to have to do one. So whoever's coming to North Carolina, let me know. I'll do it. Garrett, maybe after your half marathon on the road, we keep you running a bit and look for the half on the Spartan race. Maybe. Garrett, I think that'd be so good. I think we found your next race. Yeah, Garrett, totally curious how you like it. What do you do, bro? You're new to the channel. Hello, I talk a lot about running stuff. Would love to have you stick around if you have any running questions. That's what I do a lot of. So I manage running store. I do a lot of running myself. I have a background in exercise science. I coached a lot of strength and conditioning, sports performance stuff in the past. I've coached CrossFit as well. So I've got a pretty big range of things. The channel is mainly focused on distance running and shoes nowadays. Would be more than happy to chat about any questions you might have from a running or lifting or fitness perspective that I can give maybe my perspective on. Strength on my side has been great. January was building muscle memory, and now February is pushing real weights. Okay, James, that's actually super cool. That is a very, very real thing. Garrett, I love the office hours. That's phenomenal. So, James, I don't call it muscle memory, but neuromuscular adaptation is how I think about it. It's how efficiently you send the signal from your brain to your muscle. And that's where, like, not that this is where you're at, but if you've not been lifting, the newbie gains or like back to lifting gains comes in a lot of ways from your neuromuscular system being more efficient, recruiting muscle fibers. The muscles get reconditioned to doing the movements. So yeah, in a month, you can really start seeing big changes in your strength just from having done it again. I remember you talking about that specifically in your short. You're saying February's not too late to keep it going. And I think you're super, super spot on with it. It takes time from a neuromuscular perspective, from the brain to the muscle perspective. And then the real strength adaptations, when you start getting like literal stronger muscles, takes a little bit more time, but it happens kind of concurrently where you keep getting more efficient with the muscle, with the signals you're sending to your muscles, and the muscles start getting stronger, which is when the real gains feel like it's like, oh man, heck yeah. Javi, is road running dangerous for joints? Or Javil. Is it Javil? Yeah, I think so. If I pronounced that wrong, I'm super sorry. Is road running dangerous for your joints? I would say no. There are plenty of people who do it who are totally fine. I think the issue comes from running too much for what your body's accustomed to. I do think softer surfaces are generally better. I think I've got a video called How to Avoid Shin Splints where that's exactly what I'm talking about, where you are on a softer surface. So if I've got a paper towel right here, this will work. So imagine this paper towel is the softer surface. If you compress, this will move. Equally, if you have a running shoe, when you compress this, it will compress. So on a soft surface, you have two things that can compress to help absorb that force that you're putting into the ground over a longer period of time. So yeah, for anybody who might be a little bit newer to running, I would 1,000% recommend soft surfaces if you have access to it. Is running on roads inherently dangerous for joints? No, I think it just requires time to adapt to it. So I do most of my running on the road. When I can, I like to be on the trails. From a logistical standpoint, usually the road is easier for me to get to. And I have slowly, over time, conditioned my body to be okay with it. And I think having the running shoes that are quality helps a lot because they'll actually compress and rebound. So a good running shoe and time to allow the body to adapt are two great things that you can do that will let you run on the road. If you have the opportunity, I do love running on a soft trail or wood chip or grass. All of those are going to be great. If you have more questions or a follow-up on that, I will answer it right now. James says, when you actually get the pump, you go full caveman. Let me lift everything here. I'm not sure if it's going to help the half marathon training. I argue, James, it absolutely will. There is less conflict from lifting and running than previously thought. So there are some really cool papers that have come out in the last year or two that have talked about them being more synergistic than we previously thought. So getting the full pump, getting caveman E also helps with testosterone and growth hormone. Those two things both tremendously help with recovery. So more synergistic than you think. I would totally recommend you keep going. When the lifting becomes a problem is when you're trying to maintain the volume and this starts detracting from the volume of running you're doing. So it just depends on which part of the year, which part of your season of training you're in. You can have the lifting help the half marathon, or the half marathon help the lifting, because you recover better from your lifting when you move blood and circulate blood. Super cool stuff. Yeah, I think you'd be super in a good spot if you had that going on. Can you tell me surfaces where we not do running or rank best to worst surfaces? Yeah, sure thing. I would say probably the best is some sort of grass or trail surface. So like, we have carriage trails here where horses can walk on. Those are great. They're very compliant, just like the paper towel example. It's very compliant. It will absorb a lot of the force you're putting into the ground. The same goes for grass. I really like that. There is crushed gravel. If you have like small gravel pebbles that are in a path, that's going to be better than like concrete. I'd rather run on on the road than on a sidewalk. So they use two different materials. At least where I'm at, the roads are going to be a little more compliant. The sidewalks are going to be really, really hard. So sidewalks are kind of my last resort if I have to be on them. So long as there are no cars, I would rather be on the road than on a sidewalk, and then I'll run up on the sidewalk if I have to and back onto the road. So grass or trail would be number one, then crushed gravel, then road, then sidewalk. Avi, how to improve my running, bro? I just completed a 1 kilometer race in 10 minutes and want to improve it. Coolest thing in the world. This is so nice because it's so simple. The best way to get better at running is to run more. It's maybe not like the most fun answer, but it's the truth. You get more efficient with how you recruit the muscles. You get more efficient with your running form. You get more efficient at consuming oxygen, which is like kind of the limiter a lot of times for how fit you are, is how much oxygen you can consume. You get more efficient at delivering the oxygen from your lungs to the muscles. And then I don't know if I said this one, but in the muscles, if you get more efficient at taking it from the blood into the muscle and then using it in the muscle to produce the energy that you need to run. So it just takes time. You also burn more calories, which can help with body composition. So many things that are synergistic. If you want to get better at running, if you really want to get your 1 kilometer run faster, just go run some more and run them some miles easy. Run some miles where you're trying to run faster. It doesn't have to be super strict, all zone 2 or all as fast as you can. What type of running is really helpful in the beginning? Run, walk, easy run, zone 2, etc. James, fantastic question. The best thing you can do is take what your body gives you. So if you are not very fit right now, or not as fit as you want to be, doing a run walk where you can really allow the body to start consuming oxygen without as much of the physiological stress. So so the muscles and tendons and ligaments aren't as stressed, doing half run, half walk and alternating every 3 minutes would be great. And then you can progress to where you're running for 5 minutes and like 2 minutes off. And then you can go 10 minutes and 2 minutes off. And then you can go to a continuous run. But every run, you should not go where you're super out of breath and the body feels terrible. That's not what we want to do. You can do that occasionally. I think it's fun to test the limits occasionally, but I think it takes a lot of time to slowly get better and allow the muscles and tissues to adapt. Usually, if you have a heart rate monitor or something, usually that's going to be less stress on the body if you're in a lower heart rate. But when you're early on, it's just kind of hard. The body takes time to adapt. So your heart rate's going to be high. And that's not a reason not to do it. You just have to be really mindful about it. Avi, what are you doing right now for your running? If you tell me what you're doing, I can maybe give you a thought or two on what I would recommend. James says, I had to start my running journey by walking uphill on a treadmill. Yes. I think uphill walking or like rucking is super, super good because it allows you to get impacts on the ground. So you hit the ground with your foot repeatedly. So your body gets used to that feeling. You get a ton of really good aerobic benefits. You get better at consuming that oxygen with the uphill walking. Really, it's actually something I'm considering putting into my own training. Walking uphill at a pretty reasonable incline on days where I don't feel as good. Javier, is running do muscles loose? Can you say it again? Can you rephrase that? More than happy to answer. I don't know exactly what you're asking on that one though. But yeah, uphill walking, super, super good, especially as an early option. Oh, loss. Totally. Good call, James. I don't think any muscle loss really happens because of running. Yeah, totally agree. If you look at the super elite runners, they're all toothpicks, but I think that's a lot of genetics to begin with. Truett Haynes, one of the like hybrid guys, he's really fast and he has lost a lot of weight, but the dude is still super jacked. And it's because he's only lost muscle because he's completely, entirely cut out all of his lifting so that he can lose some muscle so he can run faster. That is super, super outlier land. We don't have to be worrying about that. I've been done with my heavy sprint and lifting background for a year now, and I've lost almost no weight and almost no muscle. I lift 1 to 2 times per week to maintain what I do have, and I'm still getting faster while I'm doing it. I would not worry about muscle loss at all from that perspective. Do we have any coffee left? No, no coffee. Sad. Cardio and strength. Hello, Nick Bear too. Yeah, Nick Bear totally. He does in fact take supplements. He does supplement his existence. yeah, we'll leave that there. Um, but yeah, Nick Bear definitely very fast, and he's not particularly light. And he talks specifically about it. Like, he's had times where he wants to get really, really strong, and that's where he puts most of his focus. Then he'll take time and really put a lot of effort into his running, and he gets better at whichever one he's putting more of his time and effort into. They both work jointly together, though, to make him better, for sure. So, I think a lot of that comes down to being fit enough, being willing to hit both sides of it. Both are really good. Anybody have anything else? This is really fun. I love that we got some new folks in the chat today. So for you guys, I do this every Saturday at 9 a.m. EST. If you guys pop in and have more questions, I would love for you to either take a look at the channel and I might be able to answer some of your questions there, or if you want to pop in next week. I really love having new folks in the chat. As I said, I'm trying to build a running hat that's really cool, but like I don't ask, like I'm not trying to coach anybody for, like I'm not trying to build a coaching business, if that makes sense. I just want to really help folks out there who are interested in running, keep building the sport, make people feel better, make their bodies move better, because I think when you feel better, you're more apt to do good things in your life, just in general. Awesome chatting, getting some questions answered. Got a split. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much, James. I always appreciate you popping in here. I will see you next week. I will keep seeing you on the channel. See you, James. All right. I think with that said, that might wrap up actually the live for today. I'll give it, I don't know, 30 seconds or a minute. See if anybody has any last minute questions. If not, I will plan on seeing you all next Saturday at 9 a.m. EST. All right. I'm not seeing anything coming through. So with that said, I will see you guys next week. Thanks so much. Let me know if you got questions. Drop them in any of the comments on any of my other videos. I'll take a look and answer them there if I don't have them here. See you guys. Oh, good stream. See you, Garrett.